Like Toledo loves Second City. They come
Oh,
and
really?
they have a tour.
The touring company. I was in the touring company in Canada. Yeah.
They have a tour with the Valentine Theater like every year, and
Absolutely.
I've been the past 2 years, and it's beyond amazing.
brilliant.
Like, they are great.
They're brilliant.
Your improv skills have shown that you have worked with Second City.
Thank you.
How comfortable, like, really are you with interacting with the audience?
Maybe too comfortable. Because my stage manager's all, no, they love it. And the producers are very supportive of the improv element. I mean, improv is written into the show, and the producers are very supportive of that, and the writers wrote it with that intent. We have a lot of amazing improvisers that have worked with this particular company and have been part of the show. Alice Moran is honestly one of Canada's best improvisers, and she played Tasha at one point.
Okay.
So
was that the girl in the
you got it in the
advertisement
poster,
with the red hair? Yeah.
And Pat Whalen is an amazing improviser too.
Yeah.
He played the original Hugh, and they're the Canadian creators. And I would have to say it scares me how comfortable I am, considering we had almost 2,000 people there tonight, and just sort of chatting it up with them. It's like just being with your best girlfriends. 2,000 of your best girlfriends.
You rocked it. You rocked it really hard, and it was amazing. Like I even told you before, like like when you found something and you found someone, you found something that was a niche, you stuck with it, and it was really, really good.
Oh, thank you.
So I know that Kara, she told me earlier that this is like her first time like working with the audience and doing the improv situation and everything else.
Yeah.
Were you helping her to like work through that? I know you had a lot more interaction than she did, so.
I was part of her training, and what's wonderful about Kira is that she's so open.
Yeah.
She's really just ready to play and ready to learn, and she's incredibly smart, incredibly intelligent. Actually great into they're so smart, both of them. And so what's lovely about both of them is that they're just they absorb everything, all the notes, and they've sort of, coming into the tour, they both came in a little bit later, and so they had lots of different directions, sort of, through different stage managers, the director, they worked with the Australian director, then they worked with the Canadian director a little bit. So, they had a lot of different input, and what's wonderful about them is that both of them managed to really take it all and be open and absorb it and make it all their own. Yeah.
So you're talking about like the improv and like stage managers, blah blah blah. I'm assuming you're an actor who likes to keep their stage manager on their toes.
Yeah,
when it comes to improv.
Yeah.
So then my question comes down to like, Jenna loves you so much. She thinks
Did
you're
you
hilarious.
Jenna?
I did.
Oh, yeah.
She was the first one I got a hold of, and
Oh my
she's
God.
like, you know what? Amanda is hysterical, and I lose myself in what she's doing, and she hits her cue, and I'm like, oh wait, like cue one, go, and I'm just like, that's awesome. Do you enjoy like making sure that everybody on stage is on their toes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that about you.
I do jokes just for Jenna. In fact, I did one tonight. I looked up at the booth, and no one else would have known it, but she always gave me a line note on one of my very last lines, which is, and she wondered again why, and that's the actual line. But a lot of times I used to say she wondered loudly, and she kept saying, "Why are you saying loudly? It's again, it's again, it's again," or I'd say aloud instead of again. And then one time I couldn't remember any of the line, and I said, and she said it. She had something to say, and she said it in song. So I said that tonight. I think I said loudly and in song, and I looked right at her smiling, and she said it loudly, and she said it in song. And actually, when I said in song, one of the women in the front row went, "Oh, really?"
Bravo. Okay. So speaking of song, and I forgot to ask Kara in Graydon. Have you had, like, this says Spank, a parody of 50 Shades musical. This wasn't, like, so much to me an actual, like, musical.
It's not. No.
It wasn't. So, are you a musical performer?
What a wonderful question. Okay, so it was written by sketch writers, and it's funny that you bring this up because we were having this whole debate in the tour band last night. But in my opinion, actually not in my opinion, I mean, I think we've had this discussion, all of us. It is a sketch show. It's a wonderful sketch show that follows a narrative and has music in it. To say it's a out-and-out musical, I think is a bit of a misnomer. Really, to be honest, what this is something that's bigger in Canadian theater, which is pantomime.
Yes.
It's fun characters. It's zany antics, it's wearing different hats, it's satirizing popular culture, which Panto does. It's taking, songs that we all know and love and turning them on their head and finding some fun lyrics for that, which Panto does. So, to be honest, I really see it as a Panto, but Panto has its roots in sketch comedy. Hello, David.
So, I have two more quick questions for you. The first one being
I get a glass of wine, sweetie. So
I know, so do I. Hey, hello, toast it.
Cheers. Cheers, darling.
Cheers. So, one of my questions for you is that you killed it with the localization tonight. Ottawa Hills, Sylvania, Perrysburg.
Yes.
Like, you killed it tonight. Where did that come from? What is that?
I really do think that this show, for my job and my role and what my job is in this show, it's to read the audience, it's to talk to the audience, it's to relate the audience. I should be one of them. And one of them means being a woman from around this area, whatever that area is. Mm-hmm. So for me, I really do see it as my job to localize this show because it makes it, people know that, what I love about this show is that when people come, you'll never see this exact show again. We're never going to see Perrysburg again. We're not going to have, our doctor who's Dr. Piper and making fun of the Vaseline and her pipes and all of that. That is, or her pipe.
Yes.
That is particular to this show, and that's one of the things that I love about sketch and improv is every night it's special and it's just for you and it's a shared experience that all of us get to enjoy.
That's awesome.
On stage and off stage. And so for me, the local references, I just come and I talk to the techs. Sometimes if I have time, I talk to people at our hotel. But I usually talk, and I always talk to more than one. Because there's always one joker in the crowd that wants me to say, tell them you can get weed at Bob's house or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's not really going to hit. But if I talk to more than one, now this show was particularly fun because I had Graydon, who's a local boy. Mm-hmm. He's from Toledo. So and what's funny is whenever we have a local show, and I've actually managed somehow to be at all of the local shows of all the cast members. I've done everyone's hometown, except for my own.
Hey, you're a good one to do it because you rocked it for this one. So.
Thank you. Well, I guess I have done. I did Boston is sort of my hometown. Toronto's sort of my hometown. So I guess I did do my hometown. But anyway, it's really fun because the actors, they see me doing it at other venues. So when you do it to one of the actors, like, oh, I don't want to be responsible. If your jokes don't land, I don't want to be responsible. So it's great kind of did that today. He's like, oh, no, please don't ask me. Please don't ask me.
You know what? It's good. Like, the thing about people in Toledo is that we know who we are. We know what happens in the city, and we embrace it. It's sometimes funny, city. But it's serious. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, it's clear to me that there's a lot of fun artistic stuff going on. Like Rachel and I are talking about just all the different things and people that are, making it work here and creating here and inspiring. And obviously, I mean, Graydon is a genius musical theater performer and actually super gifted comedian, whether he realizes it or not. He's super funny. So it's clear to me that there's a lot going on here. So it's really exciting, actually.
So speaking to you, you keep bringing up more and more than I want to ask you, but I'm going to stick it to two questions.
Honey, keep asking me. I'm fine. I'm drinking. As long as I'm drinking, I'm fine.
Good. Toast.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So this question.
Okay. Cheers. Every question we cheers.
So this question being, if you had to rate Toledo audience, right? Oh like from others that you've known for the entire year, how would you rate this audience?
You're absolutely in the top percentile. Honest
That's awesome.
to God, yeah. The number of people that were here. What I loved about this audience is, yes, you guys loved the body jokes and the dick jokes and the vag jokes and all. And, it was certainly receptive, but there was a lot of intelligent laughs in that crowd tonight. We had a guy in the front that was losing it over little things that people don't even catch half the time. And he was losing it, and now, of course, I can't think of an example, but he was losing it over those things, and I was watching him, and watching some of the people around him going, and if he's listening, he's the bald guy in the front. With really striking blue eyes, by the way. But watching him, just thinking, there must be, a lot of people with post-secondary and stuff here. Like, just some of the smarter jokes are hitting, and they don't always get to hit. Or, alternately, we'll have really smart joke audiences who don't really care about any of the sex and any of the body stuff. We've gotten it, like Portland, for example.
Right.
Sat there with their arms crossed going, that's funny. Like, Portlandia is a real thing.
That's typical. Thank you.
And so, and this crowd, what was great about this crowd was we had everything.
Yeah.
We had the smart people, and then we had the middle-aged housewives who just wanted to see some muscles on stage.
The MILFs and the ghosts. I told Graydon earlier, how does it feel being like the sex symbol for the MILFs and the ghosts? Yeah. And he goes, it's an honor.
Oh,
great.
He's so gracious, though. He's so gracious.
He is very humble,
so
and I love it because he's brilliant.
I love
you
it
also
too.
found out that he's like 3 years younger than I am.
Aww.
Bless his heart.
No, both him and Kira, I haven't had a ton of time working with them, and these last couple of weeks I've been like, my God, you're both so gracious on and off stage.
That's awesome, though.
It is awesome.
And it's hard to find young talent that's that good, that is so gracious and humble. It really is.
And they know what they have in front of them. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is my last question for you. Throughout your year of doing like the tour and everything else, what would you say is your highlight of being with Spank?
Oh, this is not a simple question. I mean, the people I get to work with. Yeah. I've worked with this show has attracted every type of personality you can imagine. And for a cast of only 3, you think, you know what I mean? Like we really should have been a reality show.
Yeah.
We really should have been a reality show.
That would have been funny, actually.
Yeah.
That would have been funny as well.
Oh my God, because honest to God, we have every type of person that has worked on this show, every type. And all wonderful, talented performers and gracious. But that's the stock answer. To be honest, like the highlights, I was telling them about Norfolk, Virginia tonight because they were both saying, I hope I don't screw up. And I was like, honey, nobody can screw up more than me. So, you know the bathroom scene?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I messed up my line right going into it. And I ended up on all fours like I do in that scene. And I looked up and both the Hugh and Tasha, and no longer working at the company, but both the Hugh and Tasha were just staring at me. So I heard dead air. They thought I was doing some bit or something. They didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I just heard dead air. So I immediately jumped to my next line, which skips to the end of the scene. But as an actor, you guys know, you jump to the next thing. Like, oh, there's dead air. It must be me. I realized I jumped the whole scene. So then I started filling the back, but at this point we're so lost in the scene. So I had them doing all sorts of stuff. I made her swig his backwash, and she wouldn't swig it, so I told her bring it to me, and I swigged it. And I ended the scene, and this is not fit for radio, but I ended the scene, and all I can remember was, she's a virgin. You can't have that. You can't end it with him having sex. She's a virgin. You can't lose her virginity out. So I just said, he almost fucked the shit out of her.
Thank you for that.
And he laid her down, and I looked over, and he laid her down and started humping her on the floor. And our stage manager, Jenna, I could see her up in the booth, and she was like, I don't even know what to, like, she just was like, I don't know, lights down, lights down, lights down, lights down, just bring the lights down. Because we were just like, how do we get through this scene?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think that's the one that comes to mind right now, but we've had lots of them.
All right, so I lie, as many choreographers do lie. I do
One
last question.
Oh.
One last question for you.
We haven't talked about that.
You switch from being the writer to being the roommate.
Right.
In such a hilarious way.
Even tonight with the mic flub, like I was running around that stage.
And you know what?
I was like the mic concierge.
I think that extra even added to it, but like just like the accent, the hair, the switching back and forth, and it was like, I even saw you put your hair up in a little scrunchie, but you jumped to it, like what? To me, that's something that is very, very skilled. Aww. Like how did you figure that out?
From your lips to my agent's ears. Yes, I can do it all.
How did you figure that? Because I mean, you have this very outgoing writer character, and then you jump into this somewhat outgoing teenage roommate.
Right.
What triggered that for you? I
mean, having done a lot of sketch. The thing that drew me to sketch were the rich characters that you can create and embody and play with. And having done a lot of sketch, to me that's a very sketch moment in the show. That's where you really know you're in a sketch show, because you can just jump from character to character. To be honest, when I was a kid, and you guys are probably a little too young to remember the show, but my hero was Tracy Ullman. She was my absolute hero. I mean,
not that young. Yes.
No, I know. I mean, she's still around,
yeah.
but I used to watch the show before The Simpsons were on air. When I was 12 years old, I used to watch that show every Sunday night.
Maybe a little bit too young.
No, I know, but you know who she is anyway.
Yeah.
And I watched that show every Sunday night, and she would, and it was a sketch show, and she would switch from character. And I always think she's, and I'm not saying this about me, but she's such an underrated actor. Mm-hmm. She can do everything Meryl Streep can do.
Yeah.
Honest to God. But she's underrated because she does comedy. But she embodies these characters that she does, embodies them. And so when I was a kid, that really, I just thought, my God, if you could do that, you could do anything, right? And that's what brought me into sketch. So for me, those moments are pure sketch. Like the shows that I'd love to do, I did a show called Book of Liz, which is a great show. You should get your hands on that script if you want to produce something. By David Sedaris, Book of Liz. David and Amy, it's actually the only thing that David and Amy